Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I have a fun video for you guys today. It's kind of out of the blue, I guess. Well, not really. I just uploaded the vlog from our trip to Athens, Greece. If you haven't seen that, stop this and watch it. Or I guess you could watch it after this. I don't know. Just make sure you watch it. So, for those of you who don't know, Peter and I did a month-long trip in Europe in September. We left September 1st and came back September 28th. Peter's sitting right next to me. He was just a little too tired to actually be in the video. So if you hear him adding in some little somethings, that's who it is. While we were in Europe, I kept a little travel journal. This is what it looks like. And I highly recommend doing this because writing down stuff that happened made it so there wasn't as much pressure to remember everything when we got back. Especially being gone for a month, we went to Jordan, Barcelona, Seville, Athens, Mykonos, Santorini, and Amsterdam. So we went to 7 places in 1 month. And by the time we were in Amsterdam, it would have been really hard to remember the small details, like funny conversations we overheard or random stuff like that. So if you guys are going on a trip and that's why you're watching this, first of all, I highly recommend buying one of these. I also made a couple of videos on stuff that we bought for our trip, and then I did a review video going over them. So if you're watching this video because you guys are traveling sometime soon, those videos are really helpful. Be sure to check those out. I have a playlist called Travel, so it's nice and easy for you to access. So this video, I'm going to be going over everything that Peter and I did, where we ate, all that fun stuff, and telling you guys like things that you could avoid seeing that really weren't worth all of the hype, and places that you really should go, and places to eat and stuff like that. So if you want some more insider tips for traveling in Athens, Greece, keep watching. Peter designed this page for me. And the reason why it looks like this, it's graffiti if you can't tell. We were very surprised that every wall, every building, pretty much every empty space besides the Acropolis had graffiti on it. So when we got to our Airbnb, it was really late, like 10 p.m. And when we pulled up, we were like, okay, where did I book this Airbnb at? Because there was graffiti all over the place. And at least here in Colorado, if you're in an area that's covered in graffiti, you probably should not be there. It's scary. But then as we went out exploring, everything is covered in graffiti. So that's something to be aware of, because we were very shocked about that. We explored Athens in 2 days. We technically had 4 days in Athens, but the first day we got there, we landed at like 9 p.m. and didn't get to our Airbnb until around 10. And then we had all of the next 2 days, and then the 4th day we had to be at the ferry dock at 7 a.m. So everything that I'm about to tell you guys, we saw in 2 days, which was really crazy. The first day we walked, was that the day we walked 10 miles?
Something like that.
The first day we were in Athens, we walked, I think, a little over 10 miles. It was crazy. The first day, we started our day off at a bakery called Benita's Bakery, and I will put the spelling right here. This place was so good. We went there 2 days in a row for breakfast. When you walk in, it's like there was so much food. It was mostly like sweets bakery kind of stuff. They had huge cases of baklava. They had a bunch of different little cakes and cookies, and then they had little pizzas. They had like a breakfast pizza. Like they had so much stuff. And then we realized it was also a sit-down restaurant, so if you go up the stairs, then you can order anything that you see downstairs plus more food. You guys can go and watch my vlog of us in Athens and you can see everything I'm talking about. But I highly recommend that place. It's not really near anything else. So we ended up walking from our Airbnb to that bakery, which was probably a 10-minute walk. And then we walked from there to the center, which was another 10-minute walk. As far as food goes, that was probably the most memorable place. Everywhere else was kind of like mediocre, to be honest with you guys. We looked up the #1 place of where to get souvlaki's. It was like good, but it wasn't like wow. So the food in Athens was kind of a letdown, but I don't know. Maybe other people have better recommendations as far as food goes, so sorry I can't really help you out in that area. One place I can say not to go, I have to look up the name of it and I'll put it somewhere on the screen. They sold chicken nuggets. Do you remember that place?
Oh yeah, I didn't really care.
That place was disgusting. They claimed to sell like the best chicken nuggets, and you guys know me, I freaking love chicken nuggets, so I was like, I will try these. And they were just like really bad. There is a place, it's called Foodies. If I can find the address of Foodies, I will put it down below. The sweetest lady owned this. It's a convenience store. So it was on our way home from like the way that we walked back to our Airbnb. We always passed it. And we went there the first night to get like some snacks and stuff like that. We ended up like having like small conversation with her. She was really nice. And then the next night we had to leave super early the next morning, so we were packing and we were going to do laundry, but then I realized we didn't have laundry detergent, so we walked back to Foodies that night, and we ended up talking to her for almost an hour. We started talking to her about like how fun our trip was, and then she asked about Peter's background and where he's from, and then we started talking about Iraq, and then we started talking about Uzo, and then she started talking about the history behind all this stuff, and like, I don't know, it was just so amazing. And that was one of the highlights of our trip, because no one else in Athens was like that. Everyone else was very like busy, 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 eat your food, leave our restaurant, we're trying to make money. But she was so like intentional with us, and that was so nice. So I recommend that place to everyone who asks. Although I don't have a lot of food recommendations, there's a general rule of thumb wherever you're traveling. If you go in a bakery or a restaurant or coffee shop, whatever, if you go in and you don't see any locals there, it's probably not your best option as far as food goes. We definitely noticed that to be true everywhere we went, except for Mykonos, because no one in Mykonos is a local, so all of the food was kind of interesting there. The next thing that I'm going to be talking about is monuments, or what's the other word? Landmarks. In Athens, everyone knows the Acropolis is there. That was really cool. Depending on when you go, so we went in September, and I got tricked into buying a skip the line pass, and when we went there was literally no line, and I think I paid 10 extra euros per person. So definitely look up and see, depending on what season you go, just look that up, because I definitely did not need to buy that. Also, I would recommend looking up a little bit of the history of all of the monuments before you go. Peter and I aren't huge history buffs, so when we went, we were like, what's this? I know it would have been a lot cooler if I was like, oh, this is where blah, blah, blah did blah, blah, blah. And to just see the history that is still here thousands of years later. So maybe do a little bit of research before you go places. I do recommend the Acropolis. And normally you walk through this place called the Plaka, which it's just a bunch of little shops and restaurants on this hill that has a bunch of stairs. And they did have a lot of really cool shops. I got my dad a watch there, a wood watch made out of olive wood, and that was really cool. Definitely try to make your route to go through Plaka up to the Acropolis, because then you will also get to see Mount, I'm not even going to try to say it. It's just like a little hike up a couple of stairs. You can't miss it because there's a lot of people who go up there, and you can literally see a whole view of the city and an undisturbed view of the Acropolis So that was beautiful, and I definitely recommend doing that. Like I said, it's on the way to the Acropolis, so like why wouldn't you stop? And then the Acropolis, I feel like I'm saying that word a lot. It's huge, so definitely plan to be there. I think we were there for an hour, but also we were just kind of strolling right through. I think if we knew more of the history, we would have been able to stop and like admire things more, but we also didn't explore all of it. So you can walk up and you can go one of two ways. So the left way, there we don't know because we didn't go all of the way. The right, if you go right, then you can see the amphitheater and all of like the big things that everyone sees. So that is also something to keep in mind. It's just a lot of walking, so be prepared for that. So after the Acropolis, we walked past the gardens. I can't remember what they're called. I'll have it down here somewhere. I mean, it was cool to see like the different kinds of plants and stuff that we don't have here in the States, but it was just like a big garden of plants. So it was cool, and if you're into that kind of thing, it made for a really cool it would have made for a really cool picture. We didn't stop and take pictures. Then we passed where they do the changing of the guards, and we never got to see a full changing of the guards ceremony, but from the small parts that we did get to see, it was really cool. And they do it, I think, every hour, like at the beginning of the hour. So try to plan to do that, but you also have to get there early because it is a sight to see. So every time we would get there, it was like 4:03 or something, and there was already like a huge crowd and you can't see anything that's going on. So get there early if that's something you do want to see. So then we passed that and we walked to this thing called the Arc of Hadrian. This was one of the things where I'm just like, why did we walk so far to see this? Again, I don't really know. I don't follow like Greek gods or any of that kind of stuff. I don't know the importance of that. To some people, it's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. But it literally was this one piece of stone, and it was maybe like, I don't know. It was like 2 feet thick, and it was just like one thing. Like everything else had like depth and dimension, and like it was an actual room, but this thing, it literally was just like one arch. So I couldn't even take a good picture because behind it was a temple of Zeus, which I'll get to in a second, and it wasn't like you could get a cool picture of both of them together. It was just bad. And then the other way, there was a street with like some rundown buildings behind it, so that I don't think I would go out of my way to see. Really, the only reason that we even saw it was because we were going to the Temple of Zeus, which I'm also like, what the heck? There's literally 3 pillars left of the Temple of Zeus. Again, I'm not into Greek mythology or anything like that. I just thought it was cool to see history standing so long, but there's like nothing left of it. And you have to walk so much farther. We didn't go up to it. I went to a gate, put my camera through and zoomed in, took a picture, and we left. It was like, those are the monuments / landmarks that we saw. I definitely highly recommend seeing the Acropolis. That was really cool, even for people who aren't into like history and Greek mythology and all that stuff. It was still really cool to see. We saw all of the landmarks and monuments. We passed the museum, but we didn't stop in because at that point in our trip, we had been to so many museums. I was just like, I can't do any more museums. Please don't make me. As far as other activities to do, we went to the Museum of Illusions, which is actually a lot of fun. We ended up going, which we didn't know about, we went on their 1-year anniversary of being open. So they had like a live DJ and free tacos and buy one, get one free tickets. So that was really cool. If you're traveling with kids, you definitely have to go there because if Peter and I enjoyed it, I know for sure kids would really enjoy it. And that took us maybe like 45 minutes to go through. So that could be a little fun something. And there's a lot of shopping in Athens to do as well. So there's one part, I'm sure there's an actual name for it, I just don't know it. It's like the really like rich shops where, so Peter and I walked through here and I was wearing like gym shorts and we were both wearing our Vans and he was wearing like jeans or something, and everyone else who was there was wearing like long trench coats and huge high heels and weird looking sunglasses, and I was just like, we do not belong here, and everyone was like looking at us. We obviously didn't buy anything from that area, but it was fun to look around. And then they had other shops that was kind of in the center. They had, I don't know, they had like Birkenstock, they had Forever 21 is everywhere in Europe. They had H&M, they had this one shoe store. I don't know if it was a one-time thing or what, but they had shoes for €5. And we walked in and it smelled like BO, like bad. It smelled like somebody let a skunk loose in there and no one cared. It was so hot, I was like sweating the instant I walked in, but $5 or €5 shoes. The center is really fun and like during the nighttime. There's just like a lot of fun people who are out. You could save the center for nighttime. We went to a bar slash restaurant called 360, and there you can go on the rooftop, and it was a little bit too cold for me, at least for the rooftop, but it's kind of self-explanatory. You can go on the rooftop and have a 360 view of the city, or you can go inside of the restaurant and it's on like the top floor, which is, I don't know, like 8 stories or something. They have glass windows everywhere, so you can see the city pretty much. That was really cool. They had really yummy drinks there. The drink that I ordered tasted like a gummy bear. It was very good. So we left 360 and we walked across the street to this other rooftop bar called A for Athens, and that was probably the best view at any restaurant. We went up to the rooftop because we knew we weren't going to be there for very long, and we had a view of the Acropolis all lit up with a beautiful sunset. It was a stunning view. It was amazing. Their drinks weren't as good as 360, but the view was better, so pick and choose, I guess. When we were there, there was a concert in like the actual center right in front of the building where they do the guard changing ceremony. I have no idea who the lady is, but she had this huge free concert going on in the park, and she was singing American songs, and I don't know where she was from, but that was so much fun. And that's obviously not like an all the time thing that you can experience, but that was like that was the best night that we had in Athens. We had some yummy gelato. You can pretty much get good gelato everywhere. Just go to the place where everyone's at and you know it's good gelato. That is all I had written down in my journal. And again, Peter and I only had 2 full days in Athens, and we saw everything that we wanted to see, and everyone's priorities are different when you're traveling. So I suggest watch this video, watch my vlog so you can see what I'm talking about, and then watch everybody else's vlogs, do a lot of research, and you will find exactly what you like. But one thing that I do suggest, and I'll say this in every travel video I ever make, don't make a schedule, because that is why we had so much fun. We had, I think out of the whole month that we were gone, I only bought 2 tickets. One was for the Anne Frank Museum in Amsterdam, and I bought tickets to see the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, and I think that was it. We saw a lot of places, but the thing you have to remember, things change. So I wrote down, I made an Excel sheet, which I don't know if I still have it, but if I do, I will try to figure out a way to share it with you guys. I made, in one section of the Excel sheet, I would put in all of the food recommendations I could find and all of the fun touristy things that you could do. And then when we were there, like we would just do whatever we felt like doing. And the OCD side of me, that was really hard to like give up having a schedule of something to do every minute of every day. But the like normal side of me and Peter, like we just had so much fun because we didn't have a schedule. We could sleep in until 11 if we wanted and stay out till 2 a.m. and not have to worry about waking up because we bought tickets to something at 7 a.m. the next day. So I definitely recommend doing that. Try to plan as little as possible and just go with the flow, and I promise you will have so much fun. So I already have my travel vlogs out for Jordan and Barcelona and Seville, I think. I still have to finish editing the travel vlogs for Mykonos and Santorini and Amsterdam. After I upload each video, I'm going to be making one of these videos going through more of like a talk through version of what we did and if we recommend things or things that we don't recommend. So if there's something that you guys were wondering if Peter and I saw that I didn't mention, feel free to comment down below. I do read all of the comments on my videos, so I will see it and I would love to help you guys out. So I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you guys when I see ya.